Okay, for the last few examples, we're going to talk about this one. It said Alicia's class is making care packages for a local shelter. They can make 8 care packages with 240 food items. How many care packages can they make with 500 food items? So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to think about how we could set up a proportion to solve for the amount of care packages that they can make when they have 500 food items. And remember that whatever we do when we solve a proportion is we have to make sure that the numerators and denominators have the same units on each side of the equal sign. So I'm just going to choose to put my food items on top and then the care packages on the bottom. And again, you could choose to put packages on top, food on the bottom, but you just have to make sure that your units on each side of the equal side match up. So you couldn't have food on one side, packages on the bottom, and then switch it on the other side. Okay, you have to make sure your units match. Okay, so our first one, it says they can make 8 care packages with 240 food items. So I'm going to put my food on top and 8 on the bottom, equal sign in the middle. And then on the right side, I'm going to put, again, my food packages on the top. Oops, I'm going to put my food items on the top, and that's 500. And then on the bottom, I'm going to put the care packages, and that's going to be representative of X because it says how many care packages can they make with 500 food items. Okay, so now we're going to cross multiply. So 240 times X is 240X. And then on the right side, I've got 500 times 8. And if you multiply that out, you would get 4,000. And our last step is to divide each side by 240. 240 divided by itself cancels out. And we would get an answer of 16.6 repeating. And that is the same as 16 2/3. And that's going to be our care packages. Okay, so that's our answer. All right, lastly, on this side, we're going to solve a proportional relationship by finding the constant of proportionality. So it says Miss Summers paid $30 for 4 students to visit the math fair. Find the cost for 20 students. Okay, so our first step, again, is to think about what we want on top and what we want on bottom. And I'm just going to decide to put dollars on top and students on the bottom. Okay, so our first part of information, it tells us that for $30, they pay for 4 students. Okay, so on the right side, we're going to put the dollars on top because that's what we're asked to find. It says find the cost for 20 students. So our X will be on the top to represent cost, and our students goes on the bottom, and that would be 20. Okay, so to solve this, we're going to do 30 times 20, which is 600, and then we have 4 times X, which is 4X, and I'm actually running out of space, so I'm going to divide 600 by 4, and I would get 150. And remember that we're asked to find the cost, so that's $150 that they would spend. Okay, so let's try a couple more. It says Mr. G paid $49.95 for 5 DVDs at a sale. How much would it cost for 11 DVDs at the same rate? So again, we have to decide what we're putting on top and what we're putting on the bottom. This is not like conversions. We do not have to cancel out units. We are simply cross-multiplying to solve a proportion. So I'm going to put dollars on top and DVDs on the bottom. So I've got $49.95 for 5 DVDs. And I'm going to set that equal to X because we're solving for the cost for 11 DVDs. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and multiply across. $49.95 times 11 is $549.45. Equal sign in the middle. 5 times X is just 5X. And then our last step is to divide each side by 5. And what we would get is x equals $109 and that's our answer. All right, so last one, it says Mrs. Smith paid $202.50 for a group of 9 students to visit the Science Exhibition Center. What would the total cost be if 4 more students wanted to join the group? So the wording here is a little tricky, so we need to be careful. Again, we're setting up a proportion to solve for one unknown, so let's go ahead and just put dollars on top and students on the bottom. Okay, so we're told that she spent $202.50 for 9 students, so that's our first proportion. And we're going to set that equal to the cost, which we don't know, so we're going to represent that by x. And it says, what would the total cost be if 4 more students wanted to join the group? So we need to think about, how many students do we have total now? So we know they started with 9 students, and you're asked for the cost if 4 more students join the group. So that makes a total of 13. So what we're trying to find the cost for is 13 students. So I'm going to put 13 on the bottom. Okay, so now let's go ahead and solve this out. So we've got $202.50 times 13. All right, and what we get is $2,632.50 equals 9 times x is just 9x. And then our last step is to divide each side by 9. And what we get is $292.50. All right, so on the page that you've been taking notes on, you'll look to the right of your page, possibly on the bottom, and it says from the lesson and the questions in the book. So work on your homework from the lesson, questions from the book, and it says remember to study for your quiz tomorrow. So you'll have a quiz tomorrow on this. So go ahead and start on your assignment, and please do your assignment on your notes page because I want to check your work and your notes. So if you would like to use an extra piece of paper, I just ask that when you turn that in tomorrow, you turn that in with the notes that you took today. And good luck. If you have any questions, make sure that you message me. All right, see you soon. 9 cents.